Hello there, very good afternoon. You are watching Lunchtime News on TV1. Bringing you the news, I'm Tharush Kumar Singh. Let's first take a look at the stories that made it your headlines this afternoon.
Indian Prime Minister Modi declares Kushinagar Airport open. First consignment of nano fertilizer arrive in Sri Lanka. Teachers associations respond to the northwestern province governor.
පුළුවන් නම් මේ මාසේ වැටුප නවත්තන්න අපි ඒවට ගත යුතු සියලු ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගන්න අපි ලෑස්ති.
Remains of the Indian fisherman who went missing in Point Pedro discovered. Sri Lanka take on a confident Ireland outfit in their second T20 qualifier encounter today.
Today is the Vap full moon Poya Day. Today also marks the end of the Vas season for bhikkhus. According to ancient scriptures on the Buddha Sasana, it was on a day like today that Lord Buddha concluded that Vas retreat and travelled to Sankasapura from the Tautissa paradise. He ended the retreat by descending near the gates of Sankasapura, where he preached the Dhamma to devotees gathered there. Also on Vappoya Day many years later, after Buddhism was brought to Sri Lanka, King Devanampiya Tissa dispatched a delegation to India to meet Emperor Ashoka. This delegation was led by Prince Aritha and included Venerable Mahinda Thera. The emperor had inquired of the Thera if Buddhism had been successfully established in Sri Lanka, to which the prelate was able to truthfully provide an affirmative answer. Meanwhile, various religious activities were observed, giving more prominence to offerings at temples island-wide. Due to the prevailing pandemic situation, devotees who were present at the Temple of the Tooth Relic carried out their observances today, following health guidelines. Religious observances were held today at the historic Sri Mahabodhi and Ruan Valley Mahasaya as well. Religious observances were held at the Polonnaruwa Galviharaya with a minimum attendance of devotees due to the prevailing COVID-19 situation in the country. The Dhamma sermon organized at the temple trees was held under the patronage of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa today. The Sadaham Seta Dhamma sermon was held at the opposition leader's office in Colombo today. The Sambuddha Puja religious observance at the Sri Sakya Malakaya opposite the head office of the capital Maharaja Group was also conducted today. The Sambuddha Puja was organized with the devotional contributions made by Toughline.
Meanwhile, a Dhamma sermon was held in Ubayasekarapura this morning on behalf of those who have been arrested with narcotic addictions. The Nugegoda and Mirihana police divisions jointly implemented this program to create a drug-free society.
If you want to stand strong as a good person in the society, as the Sri Lanka police, we are ready to extend our fullest support for you.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadas and former President Maithripala Sirisena attended an event at the Sri Kettarama Vihare in Godagama, Homagama today.
The newly constructed goal fence of the Sri Kettarama Vihare in Godagama, Homagama was declared open this morning. The Mahasangha, including the chief incumbent of the Sri Kettarama Vihare, Venerable Malabe Silaratana Thero, conducted the religious ceremony.
Today I am happy to take part in this occasion and provide the strength to work carried out to construct a stupa at this Vihara under the guidance of the Venerable Malabe Silaratana Thera. I would like to say we will assist in completing the remaining work of the Vihara through the Sasuna Taruna program.
අපි සසුනට අරුණ වැඩසටහන තුළින් ආධාර උපකාර කරන්නට අදහස් කරනවා කියන එක මේ අවස්ථාවේ කියනවා.
රජයේ දේපල විකිණීම සහ LNG බලාගාර විකිණීම සම්බන්ධ සාකච්ඡාවක් කියලා තුන ජනාධිපතිතුමාගෙන් කියන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා ජාතික පක්ෂය ඇතුළු පක්ෂ 11 ඒක ප්‍රතික්ෂේප වෙලා තියෙනව නේද?
ඒ විෂය මාර්ග ප්‍රදානෙන් හම් වෙන්න ඒ දුකෙන් ජනතාව දන්වලා තියෙනවා.
ඒක ප්‍රතික්ෂේප වුණ නැද්ද? සාකච්ඡාවක් දීලා තියෙද ඔබතුමාලට?
නෑ නෑ ඒක ප්‍රතික්ෂේප වීම කරලා නෑ ඔයවත්.
සාකච්ඡාවක් දීලා තියෙද?
සාකච්ඡාවට සුදුසු ආයගේ විස්තර දාලා ඒගොල්ලන්ට උපදෙස් දීලා තියෙනවා විශේෂයෙන් රජයේ නිලධාරීන්ට ඒ අවශ්‍යයට අපිත් එක්ක කතා කරන්න. සහල් මිල සහ සීග්‍රයෙන් ඉල යමින් තියෙනවා. ඒකෙදි වෙළඳ පොළ ඉදින් තත්ත්වය ඒ වයිදින් උඩ යට යනවා එහෙමද?
The Kushinagar International Airport in India was declared open by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi this morning. Minister Namal Rajapaksa and a delegation including the Mahasangha were also present at the occasion.
The Sri Lankan delegation, including the Mahasangha, left the island this morning on board Sri Lankan Airlines flight UL1147 to attend the opening ceremony of the Kushinagar International Airport in India. Accordingly, the Sri Lankan Airlines flight is scheduled to land at the Kushinagar International Airport first, symbolizing the opening. The Sri Lankan delegation consists of 111 delegates, including the Anunayaka of the Askiri chapter, Most Venerable Venderue Upali Thera, and the 95 Theros representing the three sects. The sacred relics of the Kapilavastupura, which are preserved at the Rajaguru Sri Subhuti temple in Vaskadua, were flown to India for religious observances at the Kushinagar International Airport. Minister Namal Rajapaksa, State Minister D.V. Chanaka and Sisira Jaikodi also make up the delegation. Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka Gopal Bagle shared these remarks.
We are very lucky that we are seeing of Mahasangha on the first inaugural flight to the Kushinagar International Airport today from Colombo. Today is a very auspicious day. There is Vapoya Day under the initiative of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi and the cooperation of the government of Sri Lanka under the leadership of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa ji. The Venerable Mahasangha is going to India together with the sacred relics of the Buddha. Today, Prime Minister Modi will inaugurate the Kushinagar International Airport, and then the Mahasangha from Colombo and all over Sri Lanka will participate in the rituals at the famous Kushinagar Mahastupa. This event puts Kushinagar, the place of the Buddha's Mahaparinirvana, at the center of the Buddhist circuit in India. It creates another link in the strong chain of people-to-people ties between India and Sri Lanka, in which Buddhism plays a central role.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi declared open the Kushinagar International Airport.
जोरदार तालियों के साथ इस याद अपनी दृष्टि से नजर गड़ाए है आज के इस ऐतिहासिक पल की.
As it was mentioned in your headlines, the first consignment of nitrogen nano-urea liquid fertilizer manufactured by the Indian Agrarian Fertilizer Cooperative Company in the state of Gujarat in India arrived at the Bandaranaike International Airport this morning. 100,000 litres of liquid fertilizer were brought down to the country in this manner.
The Ministry of Agriculture says plans are in place to distribute the stock of fertilizer to farmers in Ampara, Batticaloa, Trincomalee and other districts where paddy cultivation for the Maha season has begun. The nano-nitrogen fertilizer will be distributed through the respective district agrarian development centres. According to the Agrarian Ministry, it has been planned to import 400,000 litres of nano-nitrogen liquid fertilizer to Sri Lanka this week. These measures are in line with the President's policy decision to use organic fertilizer for the cultivation of all paddy and other crops during the Maha season this year under the President's Programme for Green Agriculture.
We requested the Government of India to provide us with a fertilizer that contains a nitrogen agent. Accordingly, we imported the stock of fertilizer manufactured using the latest nanotechnology. We hope to provide all the fertilizer stocks required for the agriculture cultivation activities of 800,000 hectares during the entire Maha season in the country. At the same time, we hope to provide organic solid manure, compost manure and bioliquid manure produced by our farmers. On average, the government also expects to spend over 36,000 rupees on fertilizer subsidiary per farmer. This is not for any personal needs or benefits. This decision was reached based on studies conducted by experts. This liquid fertilizer can be used for tea, rubber, coconut and all other crops.
තේ රබර් පොල් සහ අනෙකුත් සියලුම වගාවන් සඳහා මේක යොදවන්න හැකියාව තියෙනවා. දිගින් දිගටම ඉන්දියාවෙන්
Instead of continuing to import fertilizer from India, the President is discussing special program to carry out research and production from the Nanotechnology Institute in our country. For our plants to grow properly, they must have sufficient chlorophyll. Plants produce food through the process of photosynthesis. The total amount of nitrogen required for this process could be obtained from this fertilizer. We have prepared the timeline on when to apply this fertilizer. The Department of Agriculture will guide the farmers throughout the process, and our hope is that the farmers will be able to use this fertilizer without any fear and harvest as usual. I think we can do this together.
Meanwhile, farmers in various parts of the country staged protests today demanding fertilizer for the Maha season. This morning, a group of farmers in Madatugama Kakirawa staged a protest demanding fertilizer and agrochemicals for future cultivations. Farmers of Madatugama in Kandalama and farmers of the Kalkiriyagama Farmers Organisation were also involved in the protest. Meanwhile, another farmers' protest was staged in the Damagolla paddy field in Mahayanganere this morning.
Farmers in Ridiyagama Hambantota are also in dire straits due to the lack of fertilizer for their crops. The Ridiyagama Business Committee had recently decided not to release water from the Ridiyagama reservoir for cultivation this season due to the acute shortage of fertilizer. However, the water has been released by now. The farmers pointed out that the water is being wasted due to the fact that they have not started cultivating utilizing water. Farmers say they will harvest paddy this time if they are distributed fertilizer on time. Farmers in Madamullana and Attanayala areas in Udayala Agrarian Services Division in Hambantota are also suffering due to the lack of fertilizer. A group of women staged a protest in Walava area in Ambalantota today against the rising cost of living amidst protests across the country over the fertilizer crisis.
තොපි දිනාගත්ත නම් අපිට දෑස් තියාලා පිටි තියාලා අපේ කුංචිකුන් බඩගින්න මැරෙනවා. අපිට ඒව තමයි අපි ඉල්ලන්නේ තොපේ.
Venerable Battaramulle Sielaratna Thero expressed the following views on the fertilizer shortage in the country. The leader of the country and the ministers are not considering the pleas of the general public. Come out and see the hardships faced by our citizens. 6.9 million people voted for you expecting swift solution from you for the pleas of the general public. Next up, we will have the provincial council elections. As a preparation for the election, they have allotted funds for several projects island-wide. But they don't have enough funds to provide solutions for the hardships faced by farmers or the teachers of the country. Even so, they have not stopped any of their fraudulent activities. They are continuing to loot the money of this country. The prices of essential commodities have skyrocketed, but they are living their luxurious lives like they did before.
Over some news that we just received, interprovincial travel restrictions are to continue until the 31st of this month on President's directives. That news item once again, interprovincial travel restrictions is to continue until the 31st of this month on the directives of the President, Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Now, the Ministry of Health stated that the current situation in the country is being systematically studied as well.
548 COVID-19 infections were identified from the country yesterday. Total number of COVID-19 cases reported from the country stands at 532,766. 18 COVID-19 related deaths were reported from the country yesterday. The Department of Government Information announced yesterday that the Director General of Health Services had confirmed that all the deaths had been confirmed on the 18th. Accordingly, the death toll in the country stands at 13,525. The Ministry of Health stated that the total number of recoveries stands at 493,314.
The body of
discussions will be held with the Government of India regarding the complications caused by Indian fishermen violating the territorial waters of Sri Lanka. Secretary to the Ministry of Fisheries, Dr Maithripala Anayaka, said that discussions are planned to be held with the Indian and Sri Lankan fishing community in this regard.
Today marks the 137th birthday of the late Mahamanya Dr Anayaka.
An event to pay tribute to the late Dr Anayaka was organized in Anuradhapura today. The program was conducted near the statue of late Dr Anayaka. Members of the United National Party were present at the event.
The United National Party, which was launched as the national party of the country, had to face some major setbacks during the recent past. We were defeated for one particular reason. However, today, after 2 years, the citizens of this country are facing the consequences of their decision to defeat the national party of the country.
The governor of the northwestern province, Raja Kollure, said yesterday that the salaries of the teachers for November will not be paid if they fail to report to work on the 21st of this month. Northwestern Province Teachers Association responded to this statement today.
Governor of the Northwestern Province, Raja Kollure, who is the chairman of the Sri Lanka Communist Party, which is one of the leading leftist parties in the country, expressed views on the reopening of schools.
I'm the Minister of Education at the moment. Therefore, I am vested with the power on making this decision. If anyone is not present for their job, I will consider the decision on waiving off their salaries for the month of November.
Teachers Associations responded to this statement by the governor.
We strictly oppose this statement made by the governor against the state sector employees of the Northwestern Province for narrow political interests without respecting his position nor others, and by not taking into account the constitution of the country and trade union ordinance. If we can stop the salaries for November, we will take the necessary measures. The teachers are ready to raid the governor's office. If they are trying to win this by threatening the teachers and principals, it could be the end of education in the Northwestern Province. Dear
Best for today. It's a wrap of this edition of Lunchtime News for today. Thank you for watching.